Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Creating Wealth. My name is Marjorie Roman, and here we are with our amazing teacher, maestro in real estate, Robert Allen. How are you doing, Robert?
Oh, life is good. Awesome. And it's so good to be free, financially free. If you're stuck and you have to go to work and you have to do other things that your boss wants you to do, you're not free. So money is not the most important thing in your life, but it's way up there. And it's not as important as family or your spiritual beliefs, not as important as your health. Right below that, it's like, let's go make some serious money. If we're going to work the same 8 hours for somebody else or the 8 hours for ourselves, let's work for ourselves because we can earn 10 times more than an employer can pay us
That's
by
right.
ourselves.
And we're super excited because we've been getting some questions on social media about how to start investing because there are some fears out there because it's a really big investment whenever you buy a house. So the first question is like, why did you decide to invest into real estate instead of any other strategies?
It's just in my blood. Real estate was just in my blood. I just kind of knew it. However, ordinary people don't know these things. They have to kind of look over to the landscape of money. Where should you put your money? Well, I'll tell you exactly. You should be taking a small portion of your money and you should be investing it in the stock market. Yes, you should buy, as Warren Buffett tells you, to buy an S&P 500 index fund, which means is the combination of the 500 biggest corporations in the world, publicly traded. Buy a little bit of that every single month for the rest of your life. That will make you a millionaire. 50 years from now, you will be a millionaire, maybe a multimillionaire, taking 5 to 10% of your money and doing that every single month. However, you have other places to put your money. You want to make money faster. You don't want to wait 50 years. Then you can do other ways of making money. I call it multiple streams of income, which just so happens to be one of the names of my books. So real estate is one of those streams of income. Obviously, the stock market is another one. Information marketing is another one. Network marketing for products, or some people like that kind of a stream of income. There are a lot of ways you look over the landscape. Which one is going to be the best? By far and away, real estate is head and shoulders above any other investment. Why? Why is that? One of the reasons is because it is illiquid, which you'd think it would be a disadvantage to be illiquid. Mm-hmm. Well, right now it's pretty liquid. It's selling pretty fast because we're in a hot market. This will change. Within the next 5 years, remember these words, the market will soften. You'll wonder why you were scrambling so hard to find the real estate and competing with everybody else during this year. 5 years from now, it'll soften, definitely. But it's an asset that increases in value steadily over long periods of time. The rents also go up, and they've been going up dramatically because of inflation recently. So when that mortgage is eventually paid off, if you don't refinance but hang on to that mortgage, 20, 25, 30 years from now, that property will be free and clear. That means there'll be no mortgage on it, which means that the rents will have increased probably by the time the mortgage is paid off. The rents will be 3 to 5 times higher than they are today. For example, an apartment building that I bought, and when I got started, we had 6 students living in one apartment unit. So the rent for them was $75. Today, now 30 years, 40 years later, the rent for them is $300. It's going to be 3 to 4 times more than what you're renting it out for today. So all of that cash flow comes directly to you. It doesn't go through the mortgage company. It's all net profit to you. Plus, your minor expenses to keep it open, taxes, insurance, etc. What if you had 10 houses like that?
Oh, wow.
You would be rich. You'd be the top 1/10 of 1/10% of the top 10% of the top 1%. Suppose you had 10 free and clear houses. Just imagine that. Now, why? Well, if you bought the stocks, what's going to happen to stocks? They're not illiquid. They're liquid, which means that any disaster can drop the price of the stock market, the entire stock market, instantly if something bad happens. If there was a bomb go off in Paris, for instance, an atomic bomb, when you see those kinds of things on the news every day, there'd be a flight from capital and the stock market would drop like crazy, and you'd have to start all over again. And the bottom line is, I don't like liquid assets like that for that very reason. What about crypto? Yes, you should put some money in crypto. Yeah, you should. You should get in there and figure it out. It's the wild, wild west. Crypto, right? It's like the beginning days of the internet in the late 90s. Now we're many decades from the beginning, but we're now in the middle of that phase right now. Where, in fact, some of you were precursors. It was 5 years ago. It was even 10 years ago where you should have been in. But the bottom line is now people are starting to talk about it. It's on the tips of everybody's tongue. Yeah, you should a little bit, but it's the money that you're willing to lose. It's your discretionary investment money. And I would put the stock market as not discretionary. I mean, you should be buying the stock market, the S&P 500, every single month for the rest of your life, period, end of story. That'll make you a millionaire in the long term. Real estate will make you a millionaire in the short term. Crypto might do really well for you. I have a son of one of my good peers and teach people how to make money. His son got heavy into crypto like 5 years ago. He's a billionaire today. Yeah, when you're a billion, that's with a B. Will that happen to you? Well, if you're buying, Bitcoin or Ethereum or one of these other crazy coins, who knows? Who knows? I doubt it's going to double, triple, quadruple, 10 times, 1,000 times its value. It might, but just play, dabble. But the fundamental, everything you should be thinking about is your real estate investments.
That's right. And I feel like quite a bit of the millionaires that we see every day, they made their fortune on real estate. So historically, it's the most stable way to invest. So also another of the questions that we got is, how did you find the knowledge for starting into real estate? What are some of the resources that you used for educating yourself when you started?
Well, there is a pyramid of knowledge, and the pyramid starts at the base, where the rates of return are lower. In other words, a rate of return means, would this information be enough for me to overcome my fear and get me into the world investing for real and making real money? Or will this information actually distract from me? Well, I think I need to learn more. So at the bottom of that pyramid is information you can get for free online. And I'm giving lots of that information for free online. Go to my YouTube channel. You can study all kinds of it you want. And I know it'll be helpful to you. But the probability of you doing something with it is, 10, 20%. I mean, I'll be honest about that. People get addicted to learning, and they don't get addicted to doing. And therefore, they're learning more and more and more, and realizing the more they learn, the more there is to learn. And therefore, they think, one of these days, I'll know enough to be able to take action. Well, if you are addicted to learning without taking action, then you become addicted to the wrong thing. I don't want you to be addicted to learning. I want you to be addicted to doing. So most people who are book readers or seminar, they're what we call seminar junkies. They are addicted. All they do is read. All they do is study. All they do is learn. All they do is, go to seminars, all the Zoominars. And if you're not taking that knowledge and applying it, then it's a detriment to you. So up the ladder from, getting free stuff on the internet and getting a free book from me. And many of you have already done that. Great. Super. It's free. Great. Study it, learn it. Up from that, you're going to get, the closer you get to your mentor, we call that proximity. And the closer you get to your mentor, the higher the probability that the knowledge you get that way will actually cause you to do something so that you actually go and succeed. And therefore, you can go to live events or live Zoom trainings where real people are teaching you right now. That's not the recorded version of it or the reading a book. Up the scale is reading a book and going to a Zoominar. Go up higher. I think you should be going to live events, and thank heaven that COVID is starting to wane so that we can now go to live events again. And I know some of my great mentors, Chris Crone, he has an event he does a couple times a year. I have events, come. And that's what happens when you come to a live event. You rub shoulders with other people like you. You see them, you say, well, if that person can do it, they tell you their success story. That person can do it. Why can't I do it? And so you not only get proximate, get close to your mentor, you get close to your peers. And your peers teach you more than the mentor does. Your peers are telling you, well, yeah, I lost my job and I decided I'd go do it. And then they'll tell you how they did it. And therefore, you need to network with your peers. Yep, you do. So that's the live process of getting proximate. Higher up the line, masterminds. Yeah, it's more money, no doubt about it. But the reason that a mastermind is so powerful is because those people are doing it. They're not there because they're trying to learn it. They're doing it. So that's the kind of mastermind you want to join. People who are actually out there in the world, and therefore you get to learn from the little tricks they're doing right now. And therefore you mastermind with the best. And then usually a mastermind is led by somebody who is the master of the mastermind. And that person then you're getting closer. And a lot of times the masterminds there's Zoom trainings and things like that. But hey, I belong to masterminds where we meet with the top of the top. And therefore I get to meet with them and learn from them. And I'm the dumbest guy in the room, frankly. Oh. And they all look up to me. All of them got my books, but they're crushing it. And guess what I learn? Because I'm a teacher, I'm learning what's working right now. This works, that doesn't work, this used to work, that never worked. These are what the hot ones are doing. So you need to be in an environment like that. And finally, there is the one-on-one, and then once again, that's the most expensive option. That means you get to ask your stupid questions of a one-on-one mentor. And there's nobody around to feel embarrassed by. It's like, this is what's holding me back. I can't seem to get over this hump. What would you recommend that I do? And we're going to do 1 or 3 areas that's holding you back right now. And so I'm going to ask you the question: which of these is holding you back? Is it a piece of information you're lacking? A system, a strategy, a technique? Do you need more information? Number one is, do you need more motivation? You have the information, but you're not motivated to use it. You already know what to do, but you just can't seem to get yourself to do it. That's what I call mindset. And then the other one is called cooperation. Cooperation is people stuff. In other words, are you learning from people? Are you improving your people skills? Because in order to get really successful, your people skills have got to be good. Or you need somebody on your team that is just awesome at people skills. Because if you're shy and you're afraid to talk to people, then hire somebody on your team who isn't. Tell them what to do. At the very beginning of my career, I was taking classes from a couple of really smart investors, and they were telling us their secret techniques, which I had never heard of before. Oh, wow. And I did not have the courage to do them. Oh. So I taught a seminar. I had like 10 people in the room, and I would teach them these new techniques, and I would send them out into the world to go do them. And then they would come back to me and they'd go, Robert, that technique crushed it. That was incredible. Then I would do it. It's almost like I needed to teach somebody to see whether or not it worked, So cooperation means you're with people, you're learning from people, you're learning how to persuade people. You need people on your team. You need to do what you're born to do, which is your skill, your strength, your things you're really, really good at, the things you love to do, you're passionate about, you're really good at, that are really important to you. These are what I call your purpose in life. And therefore, those things are unique to you, but there are things that you're not good at, such as some of you are not good at numbers, You're good at taking action, but when you get back to the office and try to put together your tax returns or your accounting numbers, you're awful, abysmal at that. So you try to do it by yourself, and what will happen? You'll keep procrastinating. That's how you know what you're afraid of. You keep procrastinating it. You keep pushing off the numbers, and guess what? One of these days that'll blow up in your face and you'll fail because of that one thing you were not good at and didn't have the courage to go hire somebody. You're too cheap to go hire somebody who is brilliant at it. Let them do what they love to do. They're passionate about numbers. They're good at numbers. The numbers are important to them. If they're not to you, you at least have to be smart enough to bring people onto your team who will do those things that you keep procrastinating. So, for example, Marjorie, you're good at interviewing me. I'm not very good at interviewing myself, right?
Well, happy to
I
help
need you on my team. I have a whole team of people. I've got the AV crew here. Things that I just suck at. I'm not going to do that. So you need to form a team to cooperate with your team with people skills to make that happen. And back to the most important one, which is mindset. Mindset dwarfs in importance all other skills. Because if you don't have the mindset, you won't go get more people to help you. You won't learn new systems and new information. The cooperation will fail, and the information will fail because the motivation failed for you. And unfortunately, this is what most people need, but they don't want it. They'll tell me, I need the information, Robert. That's what I really need. Tell me what I need to know. So you teach them what they need to know. And they go, now I learned it. But they won't do it because they need to be motivated to get over the hump of that fear. So we need to get into that fear. What are the fears?
So what are some of the common fears that you have seen throughout your career that some of your students had?
There are 5.
Oh, awesome.
Exactly. Fear of failure. So they're afraid to fail. And therefore, if they fail, they'd lose money, they'd lose respect, they'd lose face. They'd lose time. There's a lot of consequences to failure. And so rather than taking an action where they might fail, they take no action where they get 100% failure. If you don't act on what you know, that's 100% failure, right? So the next fear is a fear of embarrassment. They're afraid they'll look like a fool in front of other people. Rich people have to go through a learning curve. And the learning curve means you will look foolish. Because everyone who knows more than you will say they're in a learning curve. They're learning this. They're just beginners, right? And most people won't do it. They don't want to learn because they have to practice and they have to look foolish for a while. The A represents the fear of abandonment. That means you're going to be left behind. Other people are going to rush off ahead. Some of you right now are so upset that some of your friends are richer than you. Why is it those people that you know are so richer than you? What happened? What do they got that you don't have? And so fear of abandonment, fear of being left behind, fear of rejection is the R, fear of having somebody tell you no, right? That's going to happen. And fear of S is fear of success. Literally people will go, but if I get successful, my taxes will be higher, my friends will leave me, my family will not like me, So that spells the word fears, F-E-A-R-S, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of success. Wow. One of those fears stops you. Now let's get more specific. Okay, so what is there about the real estate market that causes them fear? Okay, well, every time they give an objection to why they're not taking action, they're just evidencing the fear that's stopping them. So for example, prices have gone up so dramatically, I guess I missed out. I guess I'll just have to wait. They're going to procrastinate. What's the fear behind that? They'll pay too much. They'll get left with a bag of too expensive stuff. The prices will drop, and they'll be left poorer than when they started. That's a fear. What is that fear? It's a fear of failure. And therefore, they don't take any action. Therefore, they get 100% failure. They get 100% of nothing. They get 0. They get no real estate. So another one would be fear of, just the main fear of rejection. When you're talking to realtors, the realtors tell you that, you can't buy property with nothing down. What's the matter with you? Did you read that book by Robert Allen? Oh, that doesn't work. I've heard that story 1,000 times. Does it not? It works. Of course it works. I've heard thousands and thousands and thousands of people come up to me face to face and said, I used your technique, Robert. It worked. It worked. It works. But most people can't stand the rejection from supposedly other more knowledgeable people, like real estate people. Let's just pick that apart for just a minute. A real estate person. Usually everybody and their uncle right now is a real estate agent because the market's so hot. Do they own real estate? Most realtors don't own the real estate they're selling. They don't own investment properties. They don't have a single family home, a duplex, a court. Why would you earn 6% when the 94% is where all the wealth is? And they're not smart enough to get this. And then they tell you that you're stupid for trying to go buy real estate, for buying real estate with little or no money down because you don't have the cash, the credit, the cash flow, the collateral that the banker thinks you need to have. Well, guess what percentage of the properties in America are free and clear right now? That means the people own these homes with no mortgages. There are 89 million houses, homes, condominiums, mobile homes in America today. 89 million. 45% of them have no mortgages on them. Now, how does that help you? That means the seller might be the bank. If the seller is the bank, why would the seller lend you with a lower down payment, with probably less stringent qualifications than the bank would do? The seller doesn't want their money to earn 0.5% interest at a bank where you'll pay them 5%, you'll pay them 6%. Spread out over 20, 30 years and maybe with a 5-year balloon or 10-year balloon. In other words, some sellers will be the bank for you without you having to any of the qualifications that a banker would require. So we're just afraid to talk to people, afraid of rejection, afraid of failure, So,
and it's amazing how you mentioned that sometimes people have this mindset nowadays. I mean, given the market that we currently have, they're like, there's no deals. But there's people right now that are buying houses. So yes, there is deals. You just have to look for them. And you just have to pay attention to Robert Allen and all these many amazing techniques because they truly work. So yeah, thank you so much again, Robert. And I feel like these podcasts is really going to break all of those doubts and fears that people were having about investing into real estate. So thank you so much again for that.
Thank you, Marjorie.
I feel like now our audience is more than ready to jump into the real estate market and kill it at it. Thank you so much
Do
again.
it. Get out there.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Robert. And thank you so much, our audience. See you on the next episode.